Michelle. And the rest of the group is Peter, Aaron, Katrina, Rachel, Nick, and Jamie. He'll be along to join us in a short while. He's still at work. We also have Colin Quinlan here, who is an official spokesperson for Right to Water and an Edenderry resident. And Chris Wakefield from the National Systems Movement. They'll be saying a few words later on. We are Edenderry says no to water charges, and we are a non-political party. We are a group of concerned residents from Edenderry who decided to stand up against water charges being imposed by the Irish government. Our focus is entirely on protesting both in our town and in other towns against the water charges. We are advocates of a peaceful protesting, and we discourage all forms of violence against the government and the Garda Síochána. We will continue to march, protest and make our voices heard until the government abolishes this charge. We are created by the people, for the people, and we welcome anyone who feels strongly about the issue to stand among us. We'll have time at the end for any questions and for anyone who would like to say a few words. Everyone should have a fact sheet, but if there is anyone who hasn't got one, we have some here to let us know. We also have a Right to Water petition, and we will be passing this around now if anyone would like to sign it. I will let one of the others do their part now, and please bear with us as none of us are public speakers. Peter, you're up next.
Hello everyone, my name is Peter. Thanks for coming out tonight. One fact I found that seems to shock people is that we already pay for our water in full, or €1.2 billion. In late 1986, the Minister for the Environment at the time, Brendan Howland, vowed to public pressure and abolished water rates. He introduced the Local Government Financial Provision Act. This act gave 5% of water tax to cover the treatment and supply of our water. They also added 2% of that for the same reason. In their greed, the government set up Irish Water as a fully private company, so that once they have a full database of customers and all their details, it will be sold off. Now, Irish Water is owned by the state, but it's not a state body like the HSE. If it was a state body, then maybe revenue would get involved to collect charges, but at this time, revenue don't collect charges for private companies. Also, in today's news, I seen a spokesperson for the Irish Credit Bureau said that only the failure to repay a loan would have an impact on an individual's credit rating. So this officially rules out speculation that anybody that chooses not to pay Irish Water will be in any trouble looking for a loan in the future. I've been talking to a lot of people about this, and some people have said to me, if the government had introduced a flat rate, say €100, if the government had introduced a flat rate of say €100, they would have been happy to pay it just to get them off the backs. But there's a few problems with that. But firstly, as I've already said, we already fully pay for our water. And it's like somebody getting one of the new prepaid ESB meters and still being expected to pay a monthly bill. Secondly, Irish Water is a private company limited by shares, and once they make water a commodity that's sold to customers, instead of a service that's supplied to the public through general taxation, then under the European Water Directive Article 9, after 2016, they must recover the full cost of supplying the water. So even if they only charge €1 a year for the next couple of years, once there's that charge there at all, then you'll end up with a minimum bill of around €600 before Irish Water even make a profit. So, I have a few figures here from the European banking crisis, which is the reason for why all these taxes were introduced. Across the EU average cost for bailing out the banks has been €192 per person. The average cost of each Irish person is €8,981. Pay a debt that's not ours to pay. So the government uses 2.6% of the entire tax in the country on the country's infrastructure. This covers air, sea, land, travel, safety, communications, energy and water. We use 13% of all the taxes collected now to service the national debt. So the government has made servicing a debt that's not of your making 5 times more important than all these other things put together. Now, I'm sure a lot of people have heard something about the Coolbane incinerator project. But it never actually got around to being built. However, there was €100 million spent on it. No minutes of the meeting were taken in which €100 million of your money was spent. That money is just gone. And the reason I mention this is because the person that was the financial officer of this project is a man called John Cleary. He is now the head of Irish Water, which has spent over €100 million on consultants and continues to spend €1 million per month on advisors. This huge crime though has to be dismantled before it makes water a luxury that none of us can afford. Now they say it's about water conservation and safeguarding Ireland's water. Well, here's a few things to think about. And for starters, we have no shortage of rainfall in Ireland. Secondly, 41% of our purified water is lost through leaks before it even gets to your house. They're spending €539 million to install meters, which they expect you to pay for over the next 20 years in your water bill. And do you know where they're getting the money to pay for the water meter installation? They took it from our National Pension Reserve Fund and are charging us interest on the loan to repay it. Now, if they spent €539 million on fixing the leaks over a couple of years, they would have it saved in the following year because we wouldn't be losing almost half our purified water. Now, I can only speak from my own experiences, but I don't waste water. I only use what I need. I've never walked into somebody else's house and seen taps running for no reason. So, while there may be exceptions, we as a country don't waste water. And from a conservation point of view, I can't see a reason for spending over €500 million on metering. And also, if we do what they say they want and conserve water, Irish Water have publicly stated that if people end up using less water, they will increase the price. Now, you've all heard the joke where you'd say, such a person is a great salesman, he sells sand in yards. You just imagine how good a salesman you'd have to be to try and sell water to the Irish.
Thanks, Peter. Hi, nice to meet everybody. My name's Aaron. I've lived in Edenderry for 9 years. In that time, I've seen this town about ripped apart by unemployment and mass immigration. I was one of those that unfortunately had to leave the country when the pressure I worked in shut its doors. The people in this town over the past number of years have been hit hard, and the incoming water rates will cause more pain and suffering for families now and for plenty more people in the future. The charges that Irish Water are hoping to bring in for the basic human need of water are almost the highest in Europe per 1,000 litres. For example, Milan 40 cents, Athens 78 cents, Madrid 99 cents, London €1.63, Paris 2.16, Munich 2.26, which leaves us in Ireland at a rate of 4.88 per 1,000 litres. The European average for water rates is around 1.91 per 1,000 litres. As somebody who is concerned about the future and the rising cost of water bills for future generations, I've decided to keep a close eye on my monthly usage. I'm keeping an eye on the reading, just to try and work out what the bills will come to. Sorry, I'm not used to it. The meters that are installed read per 1,000 litres. So if you look at the meters, it's the numbers in the black that are of importance. As I mentioned, the black numbers read per 1,000 litres at a cost of 4.88. I have so far seen a couple of meter readings with vast differences between 11,000, 25,000 and 53,000 litres after a month. My own meter reads at 25,000 litres for 2 adults that spend the majority of their day either in work or outside of the house. When it comes to pricing, there is a free allowance of 30,000 litres of water per service per household, and a further 21,000 litres of water per child per house each year. The water allowance is for your main home, and the children's water allowance is for each child of whom you are claiming child benefit. I'm going to use a couple of meter reading examples that I've seen from my house and my next door neighbour's house to show the difference in bill estimates. I checked my meter reading after a month, the meter being apparently switched on. Anybody who had a meter before October 1st, the meters have been recording since then. I checked my meter on the 3rd of November, 1 month after it was switched on, and it reads that I had used 25,000 litres in a month. That means the allocated free household allowance of 30,000 litres gone. I also checked my neighbour's house, and he's read 53,000 litres. Household has 2 adults, 4 children. After putting the numbers together and taking away the allowance of 30,000 litres, the estimated bill for my water is currently at €1,318. I know. So 25,000 litres per month is equal to 300,000 litres in a year. So we use the number 300 and times that by 488 being the cost per 1,000 litres. That gives us a total of €1,464. Take away the 30,000 litre free allowance, leaves me with a bill of €1,318. On the other example, the house with the 2 adults and 4 children, after a month their meter read 53,000 litres, which leaves them with a yearly bill after taking the allowances away of almost €2,549. Now, as you can see, the figures are very high, and I would encourage people to try to keep an eye on the reading of your meter just to see the difference over the course of the months. I'll be checking again on the 3rd of December to see what the difference is, and we'll see where my bill stands at then. I did read a friend's meter, and that was 2 adults, same situation as myself, and their bill was around €600. That's a massive difference in almost 2 identical situations. Now, going back to my own water habits, they're no different than anybody else. We use water to wash, shower, clean clothes. We don't leave taps running, we never have. Our daily water habits would be the same as a large percentage of the people in this room. We use what we need when we need it. As you can tell, I'm sure you've heard various prices going around. Some of the end figures that will come as a bill for crippled families already on the edge. These prices are the real prices that will come in after 2 years of sweetness. There was no question of these prices changing. Why were the meters installed in the first place? Why not send everybody a bill at the same price and save a fortune on paying for workers, the installation of meters, the setting up of a company, Irish Water, and the €1 million a month spent on advisors? The truth of the matter is this: the real prices are what comes in after the sweeteners that are handed out. €100 here, 200 cap bill for 2 years. Stop. We will be paying thousands for bills for water, and so will our children. Water rates will climb and climb and climb. If they sent me a bill with the figure my meter is currently reading, I certainly couldn't afford to pay it. Over the past few months, the billing system and pricing has been changed on a number of occasions. Bigger changes coming after the 2 big protests in Dublin and nationwide on the 11th of November. Now, that has changed again in the wake of more protests being planned for the 6th and 10th of December. The pressure that we as a nation have put on Irish Water and the government is working. There seems to be a change week in, week out. Irish Water is seeking €198, the same as a week's social welfare and half of almost people's wages, call-out charge for people whose pipes are leaking. Although Irish Water is saying that customers will only be charged for work for their side of the meter, but your first call-out will be free. The price of an out-of-hours call-out fee is €282 with an extra €141 an hour. Irish Water charging €220 to test water pressure and €17 for a special meter reading. As you can tell by these prices, it will become almost impossible to pay for any issues you may have, even more so in emergency. I don't want anybody in Ireland to try and decide if they can pick between food, eating or a call-out charge paid to a private company that has done nothing but put fear and scare the people, ordinary people of Ireland. As I mentioned before, getting to the meter is easy, sometimes too easy. The meter will come off in a matter of seconds. There is a phone call which pulls out. Once that has been removed, you have access to your meter. Also, anybody who has carried out the previous steps can also access the meter. It's a bit more difficult, you have to unscrew stuff, but it's not that hard. So with that in mind, anybody can gain access to anybody's water. I've seen an example, and Chris will back me up on this, of food colouring being put into a water meter, and within minutes, the guy walks into the house, turns on the tap, and the water's red. Now, if it's that easy for food dye to be flow through a house, imagine what somebody who wanted to put dangerous liquids in. You'd never know. We aren't trying to scare people, we're merely trying to point out the dangers, because they are real. We're just warning people and the information as and when we see them. Thank you.
you all a few of my own personal reasons. Some of you here know me and some may not. My name is Katrina Noon. I have a husband, Damien, and two girls aged 5 and 3. As a mother, I worry about whether I'll be able to provide for them and give them everything that they need in life. This has become even harder as the starting has taken hold of this country and me and my husband have less money to get us through each month. A few years ago when the household charge came in, or local property tax as it's now called, I thought another bill, and where is it going to come from? With so much being taken from wages, with universal social charge and cuts in everything that came into the house and levies upon levies on our outgoings. So I decided I wasn't going to pay it as a form of protest. There were people protesting, but the numbers weren't great and our efforts failed. Then the revenue took over and the local property tax became yet another deduction from my husband's wages. Then the water charges were introduced and the timing couldn't be worse, with 270,000 mortgages in arrears of over 5 months. People have nothing left to give. Irish Water bulldozed through state after state, putting in water meters where people didn't want them. I said, no way were they going to put a water meter in my house. I was going to fight them. And anyone that knows me knows that. I don't mind a little fight. The day came and I managed to get the meter men to skip my house, and it felt good for it to be standing up for something I believed in. Then on the 11th of October there was a protest march in Edenderry planned by Angela Connolly to coincide with a large one in Dublin. 70 people turned up that day and we protested up and down the town from the square. It was a small protest, but it was enough to let people see that Edenderry was saying no to water charges. That day in Dublin, 100,000 ordinary people, like all of us in this room, marched in Dublin to send a clear message regarding water charges. Then there was another protest planned for towns and villages across the country on November 1st. The rain poured down that day, but it didn't stop 700 people in Edenderry joined together and marched for one purpose, because we all had enough. I even brought my 5-year-old daughter with me and I hope she always remembers that day. This is the only time in my life I've seen so many people in Edenderry join together in mass protest. I was extremely proud to be part of this march and proud of everyone who joined together on it. People young and old united in the pouring rain for one purpose. Well done, Edenderry. Which brings me to future protests. People in Ireland generally don't protest, not in big numbers anyway. We tend to moan a little bit and then eventually we pay our bills. Now we are protesting and they're still not listening. We need to make them listen. You may all think, what can I do? I'm only one person. Well, you can join your friend or your neighbour or me and this group and you can say enough is enough. I'm not going to let this happen in my time or in my country.